So it's been a year that I've been carnivore, just over a year. And I want to tell you what I've experienced and what my thoughts are on the carnivore diet. So before I was carnivore, I was vegan, vegetarian for 18 years. For those of you that don't know, I know I've repeated this in many other videos, but I get a lot of new people watching my videos. So it's good to let everybody know where I'm at in my journey, my carnivore journey. I was overweight near the end, just before I went carnivore. Overweight, my blood sugar would drop constantly, and I would have to always like get dried fruit like dates and dried figs to get my blood sugar back up again, because I'd be all shaky and stuff and hangry and all that. That was not sustainable. Constantly having your blood sugar go spike up and down, up and down, up and down like that. My blood sugar used to drop. I'd be working in the garden and stuff. Blood sugar would drop. I'd go into the house. I'd be all shaking, trying to get something to eat, some fruit or something, just to get my blood sugar back up. Never thinking, why is this happening? Is this normal? So that was going on constantly. And I had a whole bunch of chronic issues that I was dealing with. For those 18 years, I was dealing with IBS. So going to the bathroom 3 to 6 times a day, That's no fun. Rashes, eczema. I had psoriasis also throughout this was earlier in my vegan journey. And I also had PVCs. These are when your heart skips a beat. It's called PVCs. It's pre-ventricle contractions. So your heart's supposed to beat one side at a time. Well, they both fire at the same time, and you get that kind of feeling like your heart's just stopped or skipped a beat. I used to get those all the time. I don't mean once, like twice a day. I mean every other beat to like every 9 or 10 beats, I would get that. And it got to the point, in the beginning, it scared the hell out of me, of course. But I realized that after I would go to the bathroom and eliminate, those would subside, the symptoms. So I knew there was a connection with my gut. Something was going on with my gut, and after doing tons of research, I had to do with the vagus nerve. That connects your gut, heart, and your brain and everything together. But I knew it wasn't a heart problem. It was the electrical system, basically, that goes to the heart, and misfiring the heart. I'm like, why is this happening? What's going on? And a lot of brain fog, couldn't think straight. Allergies, tons of allergies. I remember one year it got so bad. There's a certain type of weed that grows here. It's very pickery, and it grows real tall if you let it go to that point. And then it gets this weird fuzzy flower, and it's like dandelion, the white little things floating around. When it got to that point especially, one year it was so bad I was cutting the front part of my grass here, my field. And it got so bad I couldn't speak anymore. I was like, I couldn't speak. It was all inflamed, and my eyes are beet red. And it was so bad. And I was like, why? Why is this happening? Why are my allergies so bad? It must be here in East Texas. Kinda. That has a lot to do with it. But it's still not normal. You shouldn't be, your immune system shouldn't overreact that way. And I would always have joint pains all the time, and especially my big toe, my ankle, my right big toe, my ankle, hip, and even sometimes my wrist. I would have these joint pains, especially my big toe. I'd have like a gout type symptoms in my ankle where I'd limp around because it was so painful. That was no fun. And I'm like, I don't drink alcohol, you know, I'm thinking of gout. I don't drink alcohol and stuff, but not thinking sugar, hello, you know. So if you're interested in buying a cool carnivore t-shirt or just a in general funny sayings t-shirt, I want you to check out the home page on my YouTube channel, and under storefront it will list all my t-shirts that I have listed for sale. Also, if you go in the description under the video, I'm going to have two links there. One is to Spreadshirt and the other one is to Redbubble. I put my shirts on those websites also. Check those and check the ones in my store for better pricing. They all have the same content, but sometimes the pricing varies a little bit. So check them out for better pricing. And if you pick one up from one of these links, it would help us out here just a little bit on the channel, and I would be very, very grateful. Thank you so much. Air hunger. Air hunger is where you take a deep breath, but it's not satisfying. It's like you just can't get enough air no matter how fast you breathe or how deep you breathe. You just can't get enough air. And I was dealing with that for some years. And sometimes I remember doing some of my videos, and sometimes I can barely finish a sentence where I'd have to take a deep breath again. That worried me, you know. And it took me a while to figure out what was going on, but had a lot to do with the methylfolate, a deficiency in methylfolate. In the early years, also when I was vegan, I was getting a lot of like those canker sores in the mouth. My tongue was kind of swelled up and kind of smooth looking. I remember looking in the mirror, you know, doing that, and my tongue was like all swelled up. And I'd also get these blood blisters under my tongue, and I couldn't figure out what was going on. This was early. This was back in 2008, you know, right around there, 2008 and 9. Actually, yeah, 2008 and 9 it was, yeah. And couldn't figure what was going on. That was a B12 deficiency. It was so bad. But, you know, throughout the years, I went through all this stuff. And then especially near the end, I was dealing with so much depression. I was depressed, aggravated, moody, emotional. I was real irritable. And my wife got really worried about me because my depression was so bad. And that was a lack of cholesterol. I have a blood test I want to show you. All right, guys, quickly, I want to show you my blood work here. This was 2014 when I had this work done, this blood work done, and I wanted to show you my cholesterol, triglycerides, and HDL on a pure vegan diet. I was eating whole food, no junk food, zero junk food. And let me show you my blood work here real quick. So my cholesterol here is 136. Now, they say 100 to 199 is good. That is complete and utter BS. We know that for a fact today. That's why I got this blood work done, because I was feeling so depressed. I was just low energy. I was just miserable. 136. Look at my triglycerides. 193. That is through the roof high. Okay? Because eating carbs. It is a fact that high triglycerides are caused by a high carbohydrate diet. High intake of sugar. Okay, it could be fruits and vegetables, especially fruits, will cause this. Okay? Grains, things like that. My HDL, the supposed good cholesterol, was low. Okay? Supposed to be greater than 39 here, and that was low. Everything else there, the VLDL was within the so-called normal limits, LDL and all that stuff. Triglycerides, that is a big problem here, high triglycerides. That is a sign of too much carbs in your diet. And this is the most recent blood work I've done. Now remember, I eat fatty meat. I eat almost a stick of butter a day. And I'm not kidding you. To me, it's like a dessert. Unsalted butter. And only the dark meat in the chicken. So the fattier meat. And fatty fish like salmon. And lots of eggs. Especially now I'm eating egg yolks and stuff. A lot of egg yolks. Why? Because my cholesterol was still low. Why I'm eating so much eggs now is because my cholesterol was low. 186. It was previously 221. For me, that was acceptable. This I did 5 months into carnivore right here. And the 186 here was 1 year into carnivore. So it dropped. My cholesterol dropped. Oh, so that I didn't like at all. Look at my triglycerides. You remember how high they were? Was it 193, I think it was? Look at it now, 90. And at 5 months, it was 91. So it dropped in the direction I wanted to go. Excellent. My HDL, my good cholesterol, 44 at 5 months and 42 at 1 year. And my very low density lipids, VLDL, is about the same, 16 and 17. So it was 16 at 5 months and 17 at 1 year. And these are the ranges over here, 5 to 40. Mine's at 17, so I'm fantastic. The LDL, the bad cholesterol, is slightly elevated. And people are like, oh, you see? You're going to die. Look, 161, 127. People, the LDL acts as a carrier. It doesn't really do much else. It acts as a carrier. It carries fat and other cholesterol around to your body where it's needed. So obviously, if I'm eating more fat, it's going to carry around more fat to where it's needed. So obviously, your LDL is going to be elevated. If I was eating a absolute no-fat diet, I would the LDL would be in the so-called normal range here, 0 to 99. But all my other markers would be, triglycerides and all that, they would be completely out of whack. So LDL is not a problem as long as your carbohydrate level is low to nothing. So you can see here my A1C is 5.1. Previously it was 5.0 at the 5 month. I don't know why it didn't show up here. They say anything under 6 is okay. But here they're showing a range of 4.8 to 5.6. And mine's pretty much right there in the middle, 5.1. I'd like to get it a little lower if possible, but I'm happy with 5.1. 5.0 is what it was at 5 months. My cholesterol was like 136, I think it was. And I thought, wow, that's great. I got my cholesterol's nice and low. Oh, man, it is. You don't want your cholesterol low because you need cholesterol to produce hormones, and your brain is made out of cholesterol. You need cholesterol for so many other functions in your body. It is an absolute necessity, okay? And there's so much research out there that shows that cholesterol is not the problem. It doesn't clog your arteries. It's a factor, but it's not the cause. It's not a causation. What causes your arteries to clog up is the high carbs and high sugar. They irritate the lining of your arteries, and then your cholesterol tries to patch it up, and you keep doing that constantly every year, and you'll end up with clogged arteries or stroke. But yeah, the lack of cholesterol is a big no-no. And have you noticed also that since the cholesterol, the statins come out, it was the late 80s, I think it was, 87, 88, somewhere on there. And the dementia has just skyrocketed since then. Wonder why. So, and this dementia thing is just getting crazy. I mean, people in the past have gotten it, but not like today. Okay, I know there's probably a lot of other factors involved, but your brain needs cholesterol. It needs it to function. I also had problems with my heart pounding at night when I try to go to sleep. It'd be like boom, 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 and I couldn't sleep because you could feel your neck pulsating and stuff, and your heart just bouncing around in your chest. And it would take about an hour before it would start settling down a little bit. That was also a lack of nutrients and stuff because I don't get that anymore at all. In fact, my heart now, when when I go to bed, it's so calm and so relaxed, and I have this sense of calmness in my chest, and because I went through years and years, 18 years of this, the PVCs, the heart pounding, the palpitations, it was just driving me crazy. But of course, I got used to them. And it was all had to do with lack of nutrition. Now, when we get lack of nutrition, we get different types of, everybody's got their own, different symptoms come out depending on what nutrients you're deficient in. And for me, it was all this that I've just been explaining to you. High blood pressure. This was a very big concern for me because my dad's side of the family, my dad, my uncle, his brother, my aunt, a couple of my aunts actually, and some of my cousins too, their kids, died of strokes caused by high blood pressure, and when your veins in your brain they burst. That's how my dad died. He had like 5 strokes, and the 5th one finally got him. The brain would just start bleeding in the brain. And I remember the doctor, and it's so hard to hear this from a doctor. He said, we can relieve the pressure in his brain where it's bleeding, but most likely he'd be a vegetable. And that was such a hard decision to make, and we decided to just have him die peacefully. That was like the hardest decision. In a way, we know what we had to do, but it was so hard. You don't want your parents dying like that. My dad, he ate natural and stuff, but he ate a lot of vegetables too, lots of vegetables. He ate meat, but he ate lots of vegetables and bread, pastas, and things like that. And that's no good. So blood pressure was a big concern for me. I had high blood pressure. It was always around 140 over 80-ish to 165 over like 85. That was kind of normal for me. And I knew that, obviously it's not normal. It's not good. It's pretty high. And that puts a lot of pressure on your arteries, your veins, and your kidneys, big time. You can't continue on like that for long periods of time in your life because you're just destroying everything in your body. And all your heart is doing is trying to get more blood circulating, more nutrition to the area, and your heart has no choice but to pump harder and more forceful. And that's what was happening with me. And like I told you about the blood sugar, the problem that I had in the beginning, not in the beginning, but actually more near the end of my 18 years, the last 6-7 years of my being vegan vegetarian. I used to have Nocturia. Every night, with every hour and a half, basically, hour and a half, get up and go pee. Get up and go pee. Not just a little bit, a full bladder. And then I would be very thirsty because I peed all night. Couldn't sleep. You wake up, you're grouchy already and irritable and just tired. And it was like that night after night after night after night, year after year after year. And boy, that really wreaks havoc with you mentally and everything else. But I had that Nocturia. And what my body was trying to do is get the sugar out of my blood, is basically what it was doing. So high insulin, high sugar, kidneys working overtime trying to get the sugar out of the blood. And that's what Nocturia is at night for me. Night sweats too, big time night sweat. I'd go to sleep and then sometimes I'd wake up in the middle of the night to go pee. And wherever I rested my hand on my chest, and especially the back of my neck and my soaking wet, I mean, you could wring it, it'd be dripping wet. That I'd have to change my shirt, put a towel on the bed sheet. And it was just a nightmare. It really was. Constantly, every night. And what my body was trying to do is get the sugar out. And I was eating natural food. I was eating a vegetarian diet, whole food, but a lot of pastas and grains and things like that. And fruit. A lot of fruit, dried fruit especially, very sweet. And that was a big no-no. And I'll be, oh, I'm eating healthy. Oh, I'm eating healthy. BS. It was all BS. I also had problems with my teeth. They would feel loose and they would be sore and very sensitive. Sometimes, especially near the end before I became carnivore, I'd be eating and my teeth would, just chewing along, because now I started eating meat in the very beginning of carnivore, and my teeth would hurt because of the chewing the meat. Not that the teeth hurt like they were, it was pain, like a toothache pain, but like the gums were like sore from the pressure of the food on my teeth. And but like I said, very sensitive. I had a hard time brushing my teeth, especially my inner part of my mouth, on the inside of my mouth, teeth. Very sensitive, very sore. Gums were receding really bad. And then after I went carnivore because, first of all, because of prayer. I prayed. I said, Lord, show me what I need to do to, get my health better, get rid of all these problems that I have, because I was so tired of trying to figure things out. And the cure for all this was so simple. You just got to change your diet. So I believe the Lord answered my prayer. I started seeing all these carnivore videos on my YouTube feed, and I've kind of heard about it through some comments in my videos. But I thought, like if most people think, oh, it's bad for you, can't just eat meat. You need your vegetables. You gotta eat the colors, the rainbow colors, and you gotta eat fiber, and then all this is so healthy for you. And where are you gonna get your vitamin C? You're gonna get scurvy and all this bull crap that now I know is all complete BS. And so I went carnivore. Within the first 3-4 days, I started feeling better. I started feeling calm and relaxed. Not always, I got to kill something. I started feeling calm and relaxed, and now, well, actually, a few days after that, I started feeling better, and within, I want to say a month, maybe. It's hard to remember, actually. But probably it was very early on in my carnivore journey. All the chronic issues that I had that I talked about, the IBS, the rashes, eczema, psoriasis, PVCs, brain fog, allergies, joint pains, tendon and ligament pains, air hunger, depression, heart pounding, the high blood pressure, blood sugar problems, gone. Everything was gone. The joint pains, all gone. My heart was beating normal again. And I thought to myself, 18 years I suffered with this stupid vegan vegetarian diet. trying to stay healthy, and I was causing all these problems upon myself. Not only that, it made our life miserable, my wife and I. We used to argue over the most stupidest things because we were both on edge. We were both irritable, moody, and aggravated all the time, because we lacked the nutrients, we lacked the cholesterol to make the hormones. Her hormones were so out of whack that it was driving me crazy. I was driving her crazy because of the way my depression and moodiness and irritability was. And it made for a really hard marriage. It really did. All that went away because of the carnivore diet. The saying you are what you eat is so incredibly true. You eat like crap and you're going to feel like crap. Okay, now you would never think that fruits and vegetables would do that to you. But if you eat that, you're going to lack nutrients. Sure, they taste great. You know, I love fruits and vegetables. I loved them then. And you get so much variety in your diet. But the thing we have to remember, food it's not meant to be, I would just die to eat this. I want to eat this. I want to eat that because it tastes so good. You shouldn't live to eat, okay? That's not the thing. You got to eat to live. When you eat food, you have to remember this is sustaining you. So that's exactly what meat does. Ever since we went carnivore, like I said, all my chronic problems that I had all went away. My teeth feel so obviously they're not sore anymore. Not only they're not sore, they don't feel loose and stuff. They're not sensitive at all anymore. They feel really strong, actually. At our last, my wife and I went to get our teeth cleaned not too long ago, and the dentist said, no cavities. I'm really surprised you have no plaque buildup or anything like that, because in the past, every time we go to get cleanings, it was a job for the hygienist there to clean our teeth. Now, nothing. There was hardly anything to take off of our teeth. There was no stains, no plaque buildup, none of that stuff. And we just got a basic quick cleaning, and she said everything looked great. So very happy about that, extremely happy. So yeah, the carnivore has just been so incredible, and and it's taken such a load off of us. We used to garden all the time, just constantly garden. That was our life. Grow fruits and vegetables, and then try to prepare them, prep them, store them, long-term storage, freeze drying, all this stuff we used to do. I mean, it's not wrong. I'm not saying it's wrong to do that, but all this extra work was making us sick. It was just a vicious circle we were doing. We got to eat fruits and vegetables to be healthy. Spend countless hours in our garden, and if those of you that followed us, we were a homesteading channel, and we used to have a big garden, and that's all we did, basically. And chickens. Chickens were actually a blessing because they didn't cause any of this problems. All the eggs that we ate, that we're eating now, especially. But the garden, all that work that I did in the garden, all the beds that I made, the fencing, we planted trees, and we dug a big old hole for the trees and amended the soil and did all this work trying to get the trees to, flourish, and 90% of them end up dying. I had to replant them at least 2 or 3 times. That's expensive when your trees, you know what your trees are when you go to buy trees. Yeah, all that work we were doing was actually destroying our health. And yeah, thinking back now, it's like how incredibly stupid I was not making a connection that the stuff that we were eating was causing all these problems. But you don't want to believe that, because since I was a kid, we were taught that fruits and vegetables were good for you, and you have to eat grains and all that stuff. But it's all a lie. It's all a lie. Now, I'm not saying that it's all completely bad for you. If you want to eat like a keto style meal, meat with some vegetables, I think that's great. I think that's really good. Not that the vegetables are, nutritious for you. They're not. I lacked so much. The folic, the methylfolate. I lacked the B12, cholesterol. I lacked so much. I never really got my nutritional profile done, but I can only imagine looking at all these vegans that I even did a video on these extreme vegan fruitarians. They look like walking skeletons. And even they had mental issues and black, dark circles under their eyes and stuff. They're so healthy. Vegetables are so healthy for you. They couldn't even speak correctly either, because their brain wasn't processing what they were saying. I don't know. It was just weird. But it was all to do with lack of cholesterol and nutrients to the brain. I'll put a link to that video up here if you want to see it. It'll be down in the description under the video. Extreme veganism, and these people were just complete. I don't even know if I can say the word, but dumb, to put it that way. To think that you look like you're complete anorexic, just skin and bones. You can see their temples, and their face was all gaunt and everything, and they were saying how healthy they were and how nutritious veganism and fruitarianism is. And wow, if you can't look in the mirror and see there's something wrong, I don't know, there's something wrong up here then. So, yeah, we've been a year now, and we've been feeling absolutely fantastic. All the issues that I had that I told you, completely gone. My wife, no more hormone problems, no more up and down hormones. She also had problems with urinating all the time. It seemed like every 20 minutes on the clock, she would have to pee. Especially if we had to go shopping, she would go to the bathroom before we leave. We get to go shopping, and it'd take about 20 minutes to get there. We go into the store. I'll be right back. I'm going to go to the bathroom. You just went. We just left the house. You just went. And I drink a lot of water. That was her excuse. I drank a lot of water. I never seen her drink tons of water. And again, we start shopping. About 20 minutes into the shop, I got to go to the bathroom. I'll be right back. I'm like, not realizing that this was blood sugar affecting her that way. And me, it was during the night, Nocturia. And she'd get up at night too, but not as often as me. Because she peed more throughout the day, where I didn't. I guess my body held it in longer, and then at nighttime it was like, let loose. Oh, I thank God that I don't have to go through that anymore. Now I get up maybe once during the night, and that's it. So yeah, that's what I was dealing with before I went carnivore. And like I said, now I got really nothing to talk about other than I feel absolutely great, just fantastic, no more problems, yeah, just absolutely awesome. In the beginning, when you do carnivore, you're gonna feel like I don't have much variety in food and all that. That goes away. That will go away. You start getting used to eating certain meats. For instance, me, I eat mostly beef and chicken. I eat some fish in the form of like a sockeye salmon. If I find it wild caught, I'll get that once in a while. Liver once in a while, like once a week maybe I'll eat liver, if that, just once in a while. It's not necessary to eat organ meats. Don't believe people telling you that you have to eat organ meats. It's not true. Especially liver. Liver is super nutritious, and the vitamin A content is very high in liver, and it might be a bit much. Okay. But, a slice once a week, fantastic. It's good. So yeah, you'll get used to eating just the meat. In fact, what I do now is I used to eat a lot. I used to eat like 1 pound of ground beef for my lunch. I eat twice a day. For my lunch, I used to eat a pound of beef. Now I eat just a little over a half pound, and whatever's left, my wife will eat. And a little slice of Swiss cheese on there, and for me, and maybe some mustard. Now, condiments. It's not a sin to have condiments on a carnivore diet, people. Okay, don't let that scare you away. Oh, well, you're not carnivore if you're, that's not carnivore if you're having condiments like mustard and ketchup or whatever. Ketchup maybe, because there's a lot of sugar in that. But for instance, mustard per serving has got 0 carbs. Now, nobody's going to eat spoonfuls and spoonfuls of mustard, okay? You just want it to add a little flavor to your food. So squirting a little bit of mustard on your burger, on your meat or whatever, or a little on the side and dip it, inside of the dish and dip your food in there as you're eating it. Nothing wrong with that. In fact, I love chipotle pepper sauce, okay? It comes in these little bottles. I'll put a picture of it right here. Chipotle sauce, it has a little bit of sugar in there, but per serving it's got none. Okay, and even if it had like just measurable amount, it's not going to hurt you. Okay, your body can handle that. A little bit of this chipotle sauce. Oh, it's made by Tabasco. It's a little on the hot side, not so hot where you can't handle it. And it's smoky flavor too. So it's smoky. It's got that chipotle pepper flavor to it. Oh, when I'm eating chicken, like especially drumsticks and stuff, I can't eat with I can't eat drumsticks, just biting into it. Because I had some dental work done, and I'm afraid of, that's expensive. So I use a fork and knife and stuff. But what I do is I put some of that sauce on my dish, and then as I'm cutting my food, I dip it into that sauce. Oh, it's fantastic. It's that smoky chipotle, a little spicy flavor. And it's just, it just completely makes your meal enjoyable. If you have problems with just eating certain types of meats and without having all the other vegetables with your meat. So having a little condiments, for me, the only thing we've been eating as far as condiments is mustard, that chipotle sauce, and that's really about it. Just a little bit of that once in a while, and won't hurt you. Won't hurt you one bit. And the thing is, you're trying to keep your carbs extremely low. Now, cheese can be a problem. You can overdo cheese. That's a big problem for me. I'll buy like 2 pounds of Swiss cheese, sliced, and I'll put 1 on my burger and 1 for me, and maybe 2 for me, maybe 3 slices, and I'll just eat that, and it becomes addicting. So you got to be real careful about that. But yeah, that's basically been my carnivore diet, and I mostly eat beef and chicken, fish, and I tried bison the other day. They have it in ground bison, a pound of it, and it was too lean for me because people, fat, you got to get rid of fat because fat's not good for you. It's BS too. I like the flavor of bison. It pretty much tastes like beef, but it's got a little slightly different flavor, very ever so slightly. But the problem is, of course, it was like 93% lean, and it was ridiculous. I wish I could find a place that has bison steaks, like, ribeyes and stuff, and T-bones or whatever, and see what those actually taste like. But, you know, nobody farms around here using bison. I wish they did. Be kind of interesting, you know. I'd buy a whole bison cow and do it that way. All right, guys, I just want to let you know my experience for 1 year experience on the carnivore diet, and how I've been feeling. I feel absolutely fantastic. I mean, I thank God, and I'm so grateful for the carnivore diet. It's completely changed my life. My blood work is fantastic. Everything is wonderful, and yeah, and that's it, guys. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, subscribe to my channel, and I will see you in my next video.